Hello, amazing, beautiful people. I am so excited to be back here again in week 12 of the Great Exchange series. And today I'm just going to be sharing my thoughts on whether we're a consumer or a creator. And what does that really mean? It's interesting that consumerism is kind of the zone. It's actually the culture that we're in. We have so much available in our hands. All we've got to do is pick up our phone, and there's just about anything and everything we could possibly have, including paying for stuff. Like everything has been made so easy. And not only that, but we don't have the needs that we used to have anymore. So we've got this wonderful opportunity of a plethora of everything in the world available at our fingertips. But what's consumerism really about? I remember a space in my life where I was very much involved in this space, externally looking for something that would tell me who I am, that would give me my identity, that would make me feel significant. And consumerism really is about that external filling that space. And actually, I'm just going to flick up, if I can, I'm just going to flick up the definition of consumerism. And it's actually a person who purchases goods and services for personal use, or with a verb, a person or a thing that eats or uses something. It's like, okay, so it's all about, it's the buying a product, and it's to fill what? What gap is it there to fill? So it's interesting because all products are there to solve a problem. Everything that we do is a problem to a promise. It's the Great Exchange. And it's interesting, I, kind of just looked and observed and done a little bit of research on how much money and what goes into launching a product, for example. And the amount of money that is spent on marketing and psychologists and neuroscientists. Because what people are wanting, what these big companies are wanting, what everybody is wanting is for you to buy their product. It's for you. So they manipulate. Facebook, uses psychology, uses neurosciences, uses the way that we're divinely programmed to get you to be hooked in to scrolling on Facebook. Interesting. Hooked into brands. And let's face it, I'm an Apple girl. I'm totally an Apple girl. And I will spend that money because actually it serves what I need. And that's all good. But the amount of money they've spent to keep you hooked in, to keep you in that space, to keep you, and the amount of products that they produce, again, using the psychology as well as the finance. So I just find it so interesting. But what I'd also find interesting is the fact that how much am I choosing and how much is being chosen for me? In other words, how all the data, I don't know how many of you recently, you look up one thing on Facebook or you look up one thing on Google, and then all of a sudden you find all the information in your feed, in your Facebook feed. It's like, hold on a minute, because all this information is being gathered, all this data is being gathered, yes, to serve you, which is great, because if you're looking for something, it will pop up, but also to make sure you buy and you buy more and you get addicted. It's like, what the heck? But anyway, that's my space or my perspective on consumerism. How much am I choosing and how much is being chosen for me? So just a thought. And then when we look at the creator is somebody who is being, not doing. So they're not doing, they're being, they're creating, they're bringing something from nothing. And it's internal and rewarding. So for me, it's an internal action because I'm creating something from nothing, like the book I've just written. Actually it took me 18 months to write, but I've created that from nothing. 18 months ago, there was nothing. And now we've got a #1 best-selling book in 3 categories. Holy moly, that's next level. Fancy being an international bestseller on the first book that you launch. And for those of you who haven't purchased it yet, if you want to go to The Great Exchange by Sally J. Webb, you'll find it on Amazon.com. In Kindle version, still at 99 cents this week, but also in the hard copy version. So feel free to go and have a nosing. But let's have a quick look at the definition. Once again, I'm just going to quickly check, so I want to make sure I get it right. is a creator is a personal thing that brings something into existence. So internal to external, not the other way around. It's also used, as a name for God. So, interesting. Creator, creative. It's all pretty cool. It's all pretty out there. But ultimately, I spent up until 2015, I was definitely in that consumer space. We had the nice car, we had the amazing life, everything looked unbelievable. It really did. Like there was nothing more. We were going away on holidays, the kids were at beautiful schools, they had beautiful friends, we got to do horses, we got to do water skiing, we got to do lots of different things that we wanted to do. And we really did. Had the holiday home, had the beautiful home in Hawke's Bay. There was nothing I could have wanted more, except perhaps a loving relationship. But anyway, we're not going to go there right now. So in 2015, everything fell over. All that consumerism came to a halt as my marriage fell over and everything else with it. My ex-husband lost his job. He was unemployed. There was all sorts going on. And if you want to read about it, it's in the book. And in 2018, I've done a massive shift. So there was a big shift where I went from being a consumer to a creator. And in that time, so much had changed. And what happened was instead of the world giving me what I needed, I started creating what I needed from the inside out. And so during that time, and since from then till now, there's been incredible stuff that has moved forward, and I'm living genuinely my best life. It's not everyone's life, because everybody's got their own best life to live, and I'm not the answer. But Jesus is. However, this is what happened. So I gave my life to Jesus in 2018, and my whole world started to shift. It started to change. And instead of doing as the world does, I started to do as I was called to do. And in that time, there were so many blessings. I became mortgage free. Boom. That was one of my goals that I'd had for years. I started up my own business, which is part of what this is, Inspiring Perspectives, which is a decluttering, a coaching, and a mentoring business. And it has pumped. There are so many people who are thriving and have gone from better to better to better to more since they've coached with me. I love it. Even yesterday, I had a phone call from one of my clients. I just wanted to give you an update. This is where we're at. This is what's happening in my life. Just bought my first house. Yay! I was on that journey with that young man when he was trying to get residency. Beautiful South African guy. Unbelievable. And when I first started with him, he was quite heavy on the booze and quite heavy on the girls. And during our time together, he'd stopped all of that. He turned his life around. He started creating. He's got married last year. And, he's, oh my goodness, just everything. Every door is opening for him. And it has for me. All the things that I have ever wanted are being given to me right now. So, we've purchased another property since then. So we've got 3 between us at the moment. We also have had the opportunity of the business and creating. I've served over 700 people. That's almost 100 people a year. It's just nuts. Creating, helping, lifting up, giving more. In fact, this year is going to be even more than that. I'm already looking at having served 50 people and we're only in February. So there's so much more to what we're doing. And it's a joy. And then family, watching my kids leave home completely set up for success with the skills to create. Even my daughter at 9 to 20 has just launched her own business. It's nuts while she's at university. I think that she's doing it to pay for her way so that she doesn't come out of university with any debt. Bring it on, I say. And this time has also been, when you're creating, it's a time of personal growth. It's a time of real fulfillment. It's been amazing. And as Einstein says, knowledge, or at least imagination, is more important than knowledge. So let's start creating. And when we start creating instead of consuming, when we start carving the path that we're meant to be, it's amazing what comes out of it. I had an empty void within. I had everything everything on the surface level, but I was miserable on the inside. Yes, I had to be on my knees. Yes, everything had to fall over. But then I started looking in the right direction. And I now have more love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control than I've ever had before. And do you know what all that stuff gives me? Is the capacity to be the most amazing creator. And what's more to the point is it's so interesting. Consumers, it's like what happened, it's happening to you because you're never quite sure who it's about. Or it could be it's happening for me because Facebook has sent you the right stuff and actually that's been helpful because it's what you were looking for. So it could be for you. However, being a creator is it happens because of me. I'm actually designing and work with people to design the lives that they are uniquely made for. It's flipping brilliant. It really is. And I remember Ken Breen, who's an amazing guy that we know. He's a scientist. He's a man of faith, but he's also a scientist. He's pretty switched on, got one of those PhDs, quite special, just quietly. But I love the way that he says there are people, and I'm sure he'll pick this up from somewhere. There's people who go, oh, what's happened? There's people who watch what's happened. There'll be people who ask what's happened, and there'll be people who are in what's happening. And so creators are the one that's in, they're creating it, they're making it happen. It's like it's so cool. So I just encourage you today to consider where you're spending your time. The average person spends 30 minutes a day. And I know 30 minutes doesn't sound too much in your day. Scrolling on Facebook for what? For what? What do you get out of it? You'd be better quite honest, you're better off listening to the Bible because at least then you're going to get some decent content. But anyway, I'm not here to judge. It's just that's my gig. That's what I would share. Because that Bible, let me tell you, the amount of personal development, the amount of psychologists, the amount of information that they find out and they go, oh, this is new, this is amazing. It's actually written in the book. The amount of times I've done that, I've gone, oh, that's right, God said it back there. Unbelievable. Because actually we're all we haven't changed as human beings. We still have hands, we still have feet, and the way that our brains are made is exactly the way they were 2,000 years ago. Nothing has changed. So much for evolution, just quietly. Anyway, I'm not here to discuss all of that because that's like next level, and actually it's above my pay grade. My pay grade is all about the great exchange. It's about exchanging things that are unhelpful for us. And if we spend our whole time consuming, if we spend our whole time trying to purchase, trying to leverage, trying to be somebody we're not called to be, trying to fit in rather than fit together, we're on literally that hamster wheel that is not going to take us anywhere. It's time to get off that hamster wheel and start creating, start being the incredible, wonderful, amazing person you were called to be. So if anybody wants to have a look at the Great Exchange, wants to go deeper, wants to actually, and excuse the expression, but see me naked, not literally, because that'd be pretty ugly. It is pretty ugly, but I do it on paper instead of in person. So much better. But if you want to see the ugly parts of the hardships, how things are tough, whether it's divorce, whether it's working right through your sexuality, whether it's abuse, whatever it might be, it's in the book. It's actually in my book. So you can read The Great Exchange by Sally Webb, and you can go and look, Sally J. Webb actually, and look that up on Amazon if you want more details. But right now, if this video has been helpful, and thank you for staying to the end, thank you for listening, thank you for spending time with me. It brings me so much joy. If it's brought you joy today, if it started you to think about what you really want, why are you really here, what is your purpose, then I would love you to subscribe to the channel and share this video with one person that you think might want to lift, one person that you think might want an exchange from here to here. But whichever way around it is, bless you abundantly now and always. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Be blessed.